we talked about the democratic principles, and I'll be frank, I have had concerns in this government in terms of, I've seen a shrinking space in terms of certain parts of how our democracy function, and I know there are circumstances around that, but I note it as a concern. But I would also note part of justice is not simply those who are impacted by the changes or those who may be reluctant in bringing them with us. There are also involved in just transition those who've been ahead of us, those who've been coming up with new ideas for years, the environmentalists who sometimes now find themselves pushed to the margins of a certain pragmatic interpretation of climate change. Those who say, for example, want access to justice so that they did talk about how the climate transition is done, how we consider biodiversity issues, how social and environmental sustainability and biodiversity issues, for example, are properly reflected and not skipped over when we make our choices about the kinds of climate actions we take. And they're part of Just Transition too, and many of them indeed are part of the Just Transition Greens. So I think it's just important to mention that some of those who've been the strongest advocates on just transition, it's not that we need to kind of bring them with us. They're ahead of us sometimes, and we need to catch up.